Welcome to Diamond Niners Weekly for week 3 of the 2021 season. We are back on the air talking about all things Charlotte 49ers baseball. As always, this is Nick, joined by Kevin.
What's up, Niner Nation?
Coach Woody.
Hey, everybody.
Producer Brad, making it go.
Hey.
Which we're really putting producer Brad through his paces today. We're making him work on a lot of stuff, which is why we're running a little bit behind. But you know what? He's a professional and he can handle it. We put him under a lot of pressure, and he does well every week.
I can do it.
So this was a big week for the Niners on the diamond. Honestly, for one thing, the boys got to play in front of fans. Coach Woody, how cool was that?
It was great. You could feel an uptick in energy at the stadium, and it's just a really great reminder that it feels like we're going in a positive direction. As just baseball as a whole, spring sports as a whole, but just society as a whole, it feels like it's we're moving in a good direction, which I think we're all ready for. So certainly great to see some familiar faces at the stadium and come out with some W's on top. It's great.
Yeah, it was awesome stuff. The weather cooperated. It was a really great weekend. So let's jump in here and we'll just kind of start talking about the games because it was such a great weekend at the Hayes. Saturday doubleheader, game 1, 7-1 win over William and Mary. Andrew Lindsay does his thing yet again. Game 2 Saturday, we come back with Bryce McGowan in a 4-0 win over William and Mary. And then on Sunday, Matt Brooks start, which was fantastic. We're going to talk more about that. But Sunday just got way out of hand with a 20-4 shellacking of William and Mary to complete the sweep. So, Coach, what are your thoughts coming out of that weekend series?
Well, I mean, you certainly are pleased, right? Like as a coaching staff, but it felt like a very complete weekend. I don't think I give our defense enough credit. I think our kind of the firepower, offensively and strikeouts on the mound, I think that gets a lot of notoriety and attention. But what I think probably the biggest thing I've been pleased with is just the defense. I mean, I think I don't think we made an error the whole weekend. 3 games on the weekend, we didn't make a single error. And that's hard to do. And it starts behind the plate with Aaron McKeeton and his catching and his receiving, and what he's doing back there is really incredible. Jacob Whitley as well, getting in there and catching some really valuable innings. So it starts there, and then defensively, I thought we did a good job. But when you hold an opponent to a 102 opponent batting average on the weekend, and you hit 352 with 10 home runs, then hopefully good things happen when you have those types of numbers for a weekend series.
Yeah, all phases, Coach. All phases, like you said. I think we've only made 3 errors on the whole season, and one of them we'll get into later that was very questionable. But the offense was hitting on all cylinders. You got to get some guys their first looks in game action, and they competed as well. And pitching, you got a lot of guys in on the mound, but starters did great, relievers did great. Another complete weekend from the Niners.
Yeah, I think on the weekend, we saw action from about 17 or so of our position players, and that fired our whole coaching staff up. Just seeing, obviously the starters doing their thing, but then, and we've talked about it on the show before, we try to look at our team as somewhat of a basketball team from the standpoint. It's like, all right, this rotation's in, now this rotation goes in, now this rotation goes in, and it's like everybody kind of knows why they're going in and where they're, they're starting to get a feel for kind of when that phase of the game is for when they're needed. And everybody, all the players, they just did a phenomenal job of staying ready and being ready, which we talk about all the time, and making the most of the opportunities. And there was no let up on Sunday. I mean, it was, guys like, Jacob Whitley, Gino Gruber, Parker Sinnett, Hunter Baker, Nate Furman, Will Butcher was our player of the game. Crying out loud, he didn't even start the game. So, it's as a coach, it's just what you love to see. You love to see guys just staying ready and being ready when the opportunities come and making the most of it. And a lot of our guys did a tremendous job of that.
I knew that it was a funny place to be in, but I appreciated the moment when it happened. Things were going so well on Sunday that Butch cranked a bases clearing double into the right center gap. And when the ball bounced off the wall and it didn't clear the fence, there was an audible gasp from the crowd, and it sounded like this. Oh,
I thought I thought it was going off the bat. I really did. It hit it really hard.
We're disappointed in a bases clearing double now because it didn't go over the fence. How quickly we get spoiled, right?
Yeah, no. How quickly we've been spoiled, and just as quick the game can humble you. So we never lose sight of it.
Yeah, for sure. We talked about fans being back in the Hayes. There was another group back in the Hayes, and they stayed all weekend. Center section right there behind home plate, scouts were back in the Hayes, and I think I counted somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15 or so scouts, and they were there all weekend. I mean, they didn't. And when I say they were there all weekend, they were there for all three games, and they stayed all three games. Nobody left.
Yeah, no, it's been our coaching staff. We work really hard to try to communicate each and every week with every major league organization on about our starting rotation, our lineup, and those types of things. Our administration's done and facilities have done a tremendous job of trying to allot us as many tickets as we can. With Major League Scouts being distanced each and every game, which right now the number is 18. Where our max capacity is 18, which I just got a text message before we came on from Minnesota Twins that was our 18th slot for Saturday. So Saturday, Friday there'll be what I have right now. Friday there should be roughly 12 to 14 MLB teams. Saturday there'll be 18, and Sunday there should be about 8 to 10 this weekend, which is tick down from last weekend. To your point, last weekend pretty much all three games we had 13 to 15 MLB teams represented, and it's certainly exciting for our players, it's exciting for our coaches, excited for the program. It's a big piece of the puzzle having players come to Charlotte and perform at the level worth being selected and have an opportunity to play professional baseball. And that's why
one of those guys looked vaguely familiar too.
Yeah, Coach Dot was in the house. Yeah,
yes, he was.
White Sox were represented. Actually, Coach Dot was here. It was great to see him. I think actually their scouting director was here as well. So there's a lot of opportunities for our players right now to be seen. It's a big credit to them and how hard they've worked. Because if you think about it, I mean it's they're being evaluated basically as if everything is normal, and it's not. They went months without playing last spring, and there was little to no summer ball that summer, and it's just. But to our guys' credit, gosh, they have overcome a lot to be where they are right now, and it's certainly neat for us. When there's strong attendance behind the dish, then you got some good things going, and it's good for the program.
Yeah, I noticed they were a lot of them were big fans of Bo Robinson too. They were kind of chirping at him on his way to third base several times, I noticed. So it's good to see that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, when we're in normal times, we go out and recruit, right? We go out and we recruit college and high school players, or junior college and high school players, and so we're sitting in the stands with those guys usually in normal times. So we have good relationships with all the local scouts, and so right now we can't go out and recruit, so they pretty much just come in and heckle us. Pretty much all we can do right now.
Gives them something to do.
Yep.
So the pitching over the weekend, of course, was fantastic. So was the offense. We've been talking about the offense a little bit. We're going to talk about it a little bit more in a minute. But you go from Andrew Lindsay on game one on Saturday directly into Sam Grace, which is a great combination. And then this got some mention on Twitter. Sort of some national writers picked up on this a little bit, that what you did in game two was really unfair. That you went from Bryce McGowan to to Christian Lothus as a combination. I mean, that's just, there ought to be a law against that, right?
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, it's but it's. I mean, they're really good pitchers. I think I said it. I said it to someone last week. There's multiple moments right now a game where, some of those guys and Brooksy and Sherbs and really there's multiple times where like our pitchers throw a pitch and I'm just like, man, like, whether it's Bryce or those guys, it's just like, you're just, man, this kid's really special. Like really thankful he's here at Charlotte and helping our team and doing what he's doing. And, we got a few guys that I think are going to pitch for a long time, and you just try to appreciate it. It doesn't, like, I don't, these, you don't get to coach these types of players and people each and every day. I mean, it's rare, it's unique. Our coaching staff, we all appreciate it. And, we're gonna enjoy this ride as much as we can.
And then Sunday we got Matt Brooks on the mound, which was, we're going to talk more in depth about that start here in a few minutes. Hint, in our award section. But it was Matt. Sunday was Matt and a cast of thousands, I think. We ended up using, I don't know what the final tally was on pitchers on that, but we were pretty much going by the third of an inning, right?
We did, yeah. The last 9 outs of the game were made by 9 different pitchers. Yep.
Yeah, it was. I actually think you got booed coming to take somebody out, but it definitely, it might have been Kevin. I don't know.
It was. I guess technically the last 10 outs of the game were made by 10 pitchers. Because Geese made the third. He got all 3 outs in 1 inning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's important. I mean, these guys, our whole pitching staff works incredibly hard, and you cannot substitute game repetitions. And so, as much as I'm sure everybody had an early dinner reservation, and I probably made people had to call and push those back a little bit. Our players, they work so hard. And our coaching staff to do everything we can to reward them and give them opportunities. And we think that they can help us. And there's guys that didn't throw in that game that we know that can help us. And that's our top priority is our team and our players. And I know Coach Murphy at William & Mary really well, and he was very complimentary after series, and he gets it. He understands.
Well, if big leads on Sunday afternoon are gonna make that situation happen, I hope it happens a lot.
Same.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, think about it. We haven't seen a game from the Hayes in over a year. So if he wants to, if we want to pitch guys for 12 innings, we'll stay there and watch. So
yeah, let's just do that. So so that was a big weekend, and we're gonna have some chance to talk about some individual performances here in a few minutes. But let's move on. We did have our first road matchup on Tuesday night. You guys went up to UNC Greensboro. A cold night in Greensboro. It was a lot of times. It was our first chance to get on the road. It was a lot of people's first chance to see the Niners play on TV because that game was on ESPN Plus. So some people got to see the team. Really kind of, to me, Coach, see if you agree with this, but this is kind of it ended up being one of those typical gritty midweek just dog fights that two teams are just going at it, and they happened to come out and make the last play that got them the win. But I mean, that was a competitive ball game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we knew going in. I mean, we played them last year, and Billy Godwin's one of the best. He's one of the best baseball men in our region, and so we knew going in that they were going to be a really good team and well prepared. And because I've known Coach Godwin for a long time, and we knew that was going to be the case. And they had a lot of guys back from last year, so we'd seen them before, and it was a very similar environment last year. I thought our guys showed up, came ready to play and ready to compete. And to your point, they got the last out and came out on top, and but it just wasn't our night.
Now I don't know if you saw this or maybe you saw it later, but there were some Niner fans that live up in the area camped out on top of the parking deck.
I heard
across the street.
It's cool.
We're looking down into the stadium, so people want to get eyes on this team, and if that means standing on top of a parking deck across the street on a cold night, then that's what they'll do.
Heck, and we, our coaching staff appreciates that. That stuff doesn't go unnoticed, and we hate to lose, so I'm sorry that for our first video stream game, and to the people on the parking deck that we didn't come out on top. It bothers us. Losing bothers us a lot, and we hadn't felt that. We talked about staff, we haven't felt a loss since beginning of March last year. Doesn't feel good. So, and I know I could see the look in our players' eyes at the end of that game too. They weren't having it either. Which as a coach, that's all I need to see. I don't need to hear much else. When your team loses the game and they've got that look in their eye, then I think it gives you reassurance that we're going to be okay.
Yeah. Now, Kevin, I'm gonna let you explain this one, or I'm gonna let you explain the situation because I didn't see it. And then I'll do the Paul Harvey the rest of the story. Apparently, and I did see the Twitter traffic. I was fortunate enough to be able to be at the ballpark there, but you were watching the ESPN feed, and apparently it wasn't going real well.
No, it was not. Finding out later the story, I feel bad for the guy, but he was having a hard time with everything on a live ESPN national broadcast. I ended up just turning Sean Fox on the radio and kind of timing it up with the video stream. So, he's having a rough time, and I found out later what the reason behind that was.
Yeah, so apparently they did have a broadcaster lined up to do the game on ESPN Plus. And then I don't know what the situation exactly was, but that person had some sort of emergency where they had to leave the ballpark like right then, with like maybe just, less than an hour before first pitch. And they had to leave, and there was apparently no one to do it. And so they ended up grabbing what I understand sounds like an ops guy, like maybe the equivalent of and maybe Cass would be good at this. I don't know, but we'll have to ask him. But basically grabbing, if Cass Ferguson, grabbing the equivalent of Cass Ferguson, who had never broadcast a game before. They gave him 2 rosters and put him in the chair and said, "Go get him, killer." And so apparently there's a poor guy at UNC Greensboro that made his broadcast debut on ESPN Plus in front of a, I guess what could be international audience. And it sounded like he struggled.
And boom goes down.
Yeah. So, what it does a couple of things. One, you feel bad for the guy. Everybody, I saw the Twitter traffic. Everybody was like, "What? What else going on?" I'm like, "Look, I don't know." Found that out, feel bad for the guy. So, and hope nothing's seriously wrong with the guy who had to leave. I don't know what that deal was, but hope that's okay too. But I tell you what it does do is, it makes you appreciate Sean and Jackson Kaplan and what they do, because apparently not just anybody can call a live baseball game on TV, because
you threw me in the fire to call a soccer match or even a football game. It could get a little dicey too. So I feel for the individual that got thrown in that spot. That I'm sure that was not ideal.
Yeah, I actually came up with a game plan for this after the fact. It was like the next day. I was thinking about it. Had we known, what would have been ideal it was cold out there. The broadcast booth was inside. So like I could have gone in there with Angie Elwood. Me and Angie were going to go in there and jump on the air. One, we'd have been warm, okay? And two, who cares? We couldn't do we just talk about whatever we want to talk about, and just throw some baseball in there while we're doing it, and people would have loved it. They'd have probably asked us back, truth be told, because it'd have been great.
Yeah, or we could have just mic'd up both coaching staffs and just really gotten some could have really gotten close, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, now that's an interesting point there. That's a good segue there, Kevin. I think there was a moment we wanted to talk about. Is that right?
Yeah. I believe it was, I can't remember which inning, maybe fourth inning or so, when Jackson Balls was in the game. Jackson Balls was in the game. I believe there might have been 2 strikes on the guy, but the guy, left-handed batter, hits a dribbler. At first I thought it hit his foot. It would have been a foul ball, but his dribbler, Jackson Balls, fields it. Runner is running down to first, gets hit in the back, and 2-run score. Then you come out and disagree with the umpire's call that he was safe. Or you were arguing interference, correct?
Yeah. I was arguing that Joe Holt he's a really good umpire. He's done a lot of games, before and with me, and so he and I, he and I can have good dialogue about disagreements where there's an understanding and level of respect. And from my vantage point, it looked like the base runner was in fair territory when he was running, and if he hadn't been, it looked like the ball was catchable by McCabe. And by rule, from my vantage point, that's the batter runner is out. And Joe saw it differently, and he was in good position. To make the call, and he saw it differently, and that's how it goes sometimes. So you just it's unfortunate that those types of things in baseball happen, but Joe's a really good umpire, and he was in position, and he saw it how he saw it, and that's part of it. You just gotta kind of overcome it.
So basically, what you're saying, just to make sure I have you here, is if the ball is if the ball is where it should have been, and the runner's where he should have been, it should have been impossible for the ball to strike him in the middle of the back.
It's like you heard what I said.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think it was pretty clear what you're at the game about was. Okay. My point I was trying to get across the game. Yeah.
Okay.
Joe's a great umpire, and I've had him a lot over the years, and Michael and David were the other 2 umpires, and same thing. They do a lot of our games, and it's just part of it. I mean, he was in position, he saw it differently than I saw it, and it's just part of it.
Well, and I mean, everybody knows that, there are those key moments that you discuss, but in a game like that, there were a ton of opportunities for both teams to do a lot of things differently, and it is what it is.
Yeah, the score was 9-7. That it could have been. I mean, it could have. That's one of those games where, if we do some things better on the base pass, on the mound, in the box, then we're talking about another win. But
yeah.
There's things that we just have to do better, and those things are more important than that call, and because we can't control that call at the end of the day. All we can control is those other things that we've addressed in practice the last 2 days, and try to learn from it and move on. I mean, it's a bit of coach speak. You hear coaches say it all the time that you learn more from losses than you do wins, but with it being our first loss, I do think that there were some key takeaways for us, and I'm excited to see those translate into this weekend.
Yeah, I think.
And they're a good club.
They are.
Yeah.
They're gonna be there right there and think of their conference.
I thought Starnes looked good.
Yeah.
And then Morosis looked pretty good. you can see him developing. I think his first appearance, he went 2 innings, and now he's like 3+ this time out. Looked like he got settled in nicely and pitched well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, every time out, he didn't get to pitch in any of our scrimmages this fall. So every single time he is out there, his learning curve is a lot steeper. So he's every single time he's out there, he's getting better and better and better. And you saw it in the second inning, you saw it in the third inning, and I'm excited for him. He's going to be a big part of this pitching staff for us this spring. But to your point too, I mean, Trey Starnes, golly, he gets the ball and we told him, we talked about it. His job was to strike that hitter out. We told him that the day before. Your job is to strike out quarter his year if he's the leadoff hitter. And they ended up leading him off. And, Starnes is such a competitor. He's one of our biggest competitors. And, his start last year there didn't go so well. And that bothered him. It still bothered me. And so, when we talked about it as a staff about, hey, what do we think about starting one of our most competitive pitchers? They're likely going to have a left-handed leadoff guy. Let's give Starnes a little bit of a redemption on that mound at that field, and help our team and try to punch that guy out. And gosh darn if he didn't do it. So that fired me up. And, I think it probably set their lineup a little bit differently in terms of they had a right-handed DH and one of their better hitters, Kavanaugh. He got moved down into the 8 hole where he usually hits up around the 5 or the 6 hole, and he's a left-handed hitter. So I think the move put us in a little bit of a better spot over the course of 27 outs to do some things. It just didn't work out. It just didn't go our way. Ultimately.
Yeah, so 3-1 in the week, 6-1 overall. So great start moving forward here. Kevin, why don't we transition into talking about some weekly awards? I know we've got a list that we usually go through. Why don't we dig in there? That'll give us an opportunity to talk about some more guys.
All right. Well, you want to start with ours real quick? We're going to do our offensive player of the week. This guy, he was also named Conference USA hitter of the week, so it's not a big secret. Dave McCabe
made our job really easy.
Yeah, he got 7 for 13 on the weekend, 6 ribbies, 3 homers, and a double. Got a stolen base, so he was doing it all. And like Woody said earlier, playing good defense as well over at first base. Today, he was also named, was it PBR Canada Collegiate Player of the Week, Collegiate Hitter of the Week. So yeah, he's racking up.
Canadian Hitter of the Week.
It's awesome.
I mean, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Well, it is, and Big Maple's he's got an award for it. So,
if there's a Canadian Hitter of the Week, they just need to go ahead and name it for Big Maple and be done with it.
Yeah, I mean, he hit 462 with 3 bombs, and he's just to your point. He's just he's made himself into a really complete player. And our infielders love throwing to him. I mean, he's such a big target. He picks everything. He's got great footwork around the bag. So, he certainly had a great week for us.
All right. On the other side, the pitcher of the week, or a starting pitcher of the week, Nick and I, we chose Matt Brooks for our starting pitcher of the week. We talked about him quite a bit. It's a great story. He made his first start as a Niner in almost 2 years to the day, almost. And actually, I wrote it down. His last start was March 2nd, 2019. It was a doubleheader against Kent State. They had had a dedication ceremony for the indoor facility that day. And then Matt Brooks went out there and pitched almost a complete game, 6 2/3. We pulled him with 1 out left to go against Kent State. Won 1-0. Shut out, 6 Ks. And then 2 years to the day, or almost to the day, he gets his next start throws 5 innings, allows only 1 hit, 1 run, and 5 Ks on the day. Great to see. It's a great moment. Great to follow his journey back to the mound at the Hayes, and I can't wait to see what's next for him.
Yeah, he's another one. He's just getting better and better every time out. And I mean, the further he gets removed from that surgery, and the further down the path of recovery, which he's just getting better and better. So, gosh, I mean, picking between those 3 starters, between Andrew and Bryce and Brooksy, I mean, golly, I think he got. I mean, Brooksy. Biggest reason Brooksy didn't go out is obviously that was the most innings he had thrown, for us, and that was the longest he had sat between innings. So we wanted to be cautious of that. So we didn't want to send him back out. Pitching wise, I mean, he felt good, and he could have gone back out, but we want to make sure that he's getting stronger and stronger week to week. But when you have Andrew goes 7 innings and Bryce goes 6, and between the two of them, it's 13 innings and I think 15 punch outs, maybe 1 run. It's just lights out from all 3 starters. Brooksy going 5 shutout. So maybe he gave up a run, but felt like a shutout just with how well he pitched.
Yeah, and in all honesty, I mean, it was a 3-way tie. I mean, but and I know Bryce and Andrew, and I know these fictitious awards we give are coveted, but Brooksy won it on sentiment. When you look at the whole story and like Kevin laid it out so perfectly, all the adversity that he overcame and what he did, that got him the nod. So I have a feeling Bryce and Andrew, I have a feeling there will be plenty of fictitious awards coming your way later in the season as we progress. But our sentimental nature got Brooksy the nod this week.
Rightfully so.
All right. Another award that we give out each week is our Relief Pitcher of the Week award. Nick, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, so we went with Christian Lothus coming in for a 3-inning save. Game 2 on Saturday, I think 6 Ks, 2 hits, no runs, and a 3-inning save. That's worth an award, even if it's not real.
Yeah, I mean, Christian, whether he gets the first 3 outs or the last 3 outs of the game, I mean, he's really good. I mean, he is. He's right there at the top with all the other guys, and I mean, it changes the dynamic of our entire pitching staff having Christian in our bullpen. So, I would expect in the short term, if you want to call him our quote unquote closer, that's fine. You can. We that's how we're really approaching him now with our pitching staff. Pretty unique having a left-handed closer, but but I think anybody that's seen him throw, knows that he can do it, and he can do it at a high level. So he takes such good care of himself. He works so hard, and this stuff is really, really good. So he's another one that when he's out there pitching, I really kind of sit back and just enjoy and appreciate the fact that he's on our team. He's a huge asset for our program, being able to pitch, like I said, either at the front end or the back end. There's not a lot of guys that can do it, and he's shown that he can.
So, and I know you guys do. We walk through your leadership or your list of awards every week as well. So, Kevin, you want to kind of walk us through those, and we'll see what the real award winners were this week.
All right. Oh, you guys, I know you guys do a leadership effort and attitude award. Can you let us know who got that for you guys this week?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it was Nate Furman. You guys referenced him on I think social earlier this week. But Nate, man, he's the first guy at the yard. He's the last guy to leave. He is a grinder and a worker, and he is pulling for his teammates start to finish. And here you go, boom, you're in the game. bases loaded, double off the wall. Here we go. And he's that is so that was just really great to see for us.
What Coach is talking about there is on Twitter. Nate Furman is Twitter gold. We track Twitter analytics and just see what works and what doesn't, and what people are, what goes and what doesn't. And pretty soon we may just become a Nate Furman account, I'm thinking, because when you tweet about Nate Furman, your mentions and the retweets and the likes and the everything just goes through the roof. He was the first and second most traffic tweets from the account during February. So pretty soon we're just going to be letting you know, like, well, this inning, Nate Furman is, he's chewing some sunflower seeds, whatever. We're just going to bring you that content and just watch it blow up. It's going to be huge. I don't know. I can't explain it. He's a Twitter phenomenon.
Well, what he mentioned, he said he's the mayor. So a lot of people like him. And he sounds like a really good guy. So he deserves all of it.
Hey, he's a good dude. I'm been watching him since the summer. He was down here early for summer ball, and I remember, Kevin, if you remember the comment I made to you after going to see him play is this guy just gets dirty. He is the guy that's on the ground in the dirt every play. He's just whatever. He's a grinder, and so it's cool. I like him. I like his makeup.
All right, we'll jump on over to the next award. You guys do a Defensive Player of the Week award. Who'd you guys go with this week?
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much we went with our whole infield. I mean, between Austin Knight, Jack Dragum, Carson Johnson, and David McCabe. I mean, those four. I mean, it's hard to highlight any one of those guys. I think the week before we highlighted Aaron for his receiving behind the plate and how many balls he got called strikes with his receiving. But to go an entire weekend series and not make a single error and have that many ground balls, and it's exciting for us because everybody on that infield, they're swinging the bat so well. But they attack the field. When they take the field, it's an attack mindset in terms of their approach to prevent runs, and it's really cool to see, and it's a fun group to watch. So we gave it to our entire infield.
They made a lot of tough plays this week. A lot of tough plays this weekend on the infield, and a lot of them. We had a lot of great positioning as well. We had them play perfect. Seems like a lot of the time this weekend, and we just made good plays.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, B-Rob and Coach Vic. I mean, they're all over. B-Rob positions the infielders, and just he works with me and Coach Miney on the pitching side in terms of making sure that guys are, depending on what we're throwing and how we're attacking a guy at times, and moving guys. And Coach Vic's always moving the outfielders. Then they do a ton of prep. Knowing what guys do, right on right, left versus left versus right versus left, 2 strikes, situational type stuff, reading our pitcher having velocity or certain type of off-speed pitch that might trigger him going a certain way with the pitch. I mean, they work really hard at that stuff. So it certainly want to acknowledge that because they spend a lot of time and effort in positioning those guys. It doesn't just happen. I can assure you.
And you mentioned Jack and the plays he's making it short. He also had a really good weekend at the plate. And he is making some really tough plays with routine. I'm impressed. We actually owe Jack an apology. He had 2 dingers this weekend, and we were getting some cell phone footage of all kind of things. We didn't have our camera ready on either one of Jack's dingers. We got nothing on Jack Dragum, and you know what? We're gonna fix that.
It's unacceptable. Jack, you guys don't do it.
Jack, you keep hitting them, and we're gonna get one. Because we screwed up twice in a row, and we're gonna little coach speak here. We're gonna take that. We're gonna learn from that, and we're gonna bounce back. Mistakes were made. but we're gonna get that. You just keep hitting them, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, if y'all start filming a bunch and you don't keep hitting home runs, I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm gonna ask y'all to stop filming. I'm not super.
It says something when you got to get the camera out 1 through 9 because they might go yard at any time. So that says a lot about the lineup right there.
It's a good lineup. It's a good group of guys. Yeah, there's guys coming off the bench that can do it too. That's the neat thing.
Right. All right. Let's get the next award is the whip leader. I saw that Matt Brooks was number 10 in the country in whip. So I'm not sure what his numbers were this week, but I'm guessing they were pretty high.
Yeah, I mean, you go 5 innings, no walks, 1 hit. You're gonna be pretty much the tops of that category. All 3 of our starters, they've just been tremendous, and that's a big category for us. We really emphasize that. We feel like we've got guys that can go for the strikeout, and that's certainly important. That's great. That's a need. But the big, one of the big keys for us, and it got us on Tuesday, is when I think opponents on the year are hitting like 140 off of us right now, so if opponents are going to hit 140 off of us, we need to do a better job as a staff making sure those hits aren't occurring after, we've walked or hit 1 or 2 guys, so easier said than done. None of our pitchers are ever trying to, you're never going to hear me say just those strikes or, it's right. Like nobody's ever trying to do that, but for us to go where we want to go and be the team we want to be, having a really good whip, which we do. I think we're top 10 in the country in whip right now, even with, more walks than we want to have. It's an important stat for us for sure.
And just for clarification, that's walks and hits per inning pitched. And also for producer Brad, because I see it written all over your face, I know you're thinking about Devo right now because we're talking about whip. So I could just see it. Those wheels were spinning.
If I had only been prepared.
Coach, my high school coach told me to throw strikes. So
good advice.
It is good.
It's good advice. I can assure you all of our pitchers are trying to at all times.
Yeah, one of those things. All right. I think we've touched on quality at bat award. Who do you guys have for that this week?
I think it was Austin Knight again. Austin Knight was our points leader. For that, it just goes to show you. I mean, he was, he hit 400 for the series, but can't remember his point total. But gosh, every time it feels like Austin Knight is walking to the plate, it's a good feeling right now. He is in fuego, and teams are they're throwing everything at him. They're throwing Velo up. They're trying to get him to chase. They're jamming him. They're trying to get him to expand. And he is dialed in right now at the plate, and it's fun to watch.
Did we need any repairs to the scoreboard after he launched one off of it? Oh, was it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday.
Good question.
It wasn't working great before he hit it. He might have fixed it.
Yeah.
And by the way, we did confirm that with his dad that he's superstitious and he's in a routine now. It's the night before game. It's beef.
There you go.
Beef. It's for dinner.
So
he's rocking that.
All right. I think we got all the.
Did we? Yeah, I think we got them all. We did. How about that? I'm sitting here waiting for the next award, and it's like, no, we did them. All right, cool. So at this point, let's take a look at some. We've mentioned a lot of these guys. Just there were so many. When you do as well as we did, you're going to have a lot of top performers. We mentioned Matt, and we mentioned Jack. Sam picked up the save in game 1 on Saturday. Craig, which, by the way, is it just me? Am I the only one noticing this, that they are now announcing him as Craig Keuchel when Eagle comes to the plate? It's happening. Craig's still raking. What's that, Woody?
Started a movement.
You started a movement. That's what we're here for. We're influencers. So Craig's rocking those yellow work gloves, and he's still doing his thing. 5 more RBI, another home run. It's crazy. Knight, you mentioned him. We've talked about Andrew Lindsay and Christian. They both had big weekends. Big Maple. Nothing else we need to say about that. Hitter of the week in the conference. Bryce was awesome again. Some names that we don't get to talk about as much, though, because all these guys were so we'll be talking about these guys all season. But in that game on Sunday, we briefly touched on it. A bunch of guys got to get in and got to get some of them a lot of first hits in a Niner uniform. So Hunter Baker got his first hit as a Niner, hit a ball to left field that still hasn't landed. He was 2 for 3, home run, 2 ribbies. Butch got in the game. He said he was the player of the game, 2 for 2, a double, a home run, 3 RBIs. Thomas Caulfield got his first hit as a Niner, going 1 for 2. The mayor, Nate Furman, got in with a 3 RBI double. I mean, the guy gets in and 3 RBI double, no big deal. Gino Groover got his first collegiate hit. He hit a couple singles, and the old timer, the vet, Jacob Whitley, got in and went 2 for 2. So a lot of different contributors this week. I mean, we kind of find ourselves talking about, the same set of guys, but Coach, a lot of guys got in the mix and a lot of career firsts, which is always awesome to see.
Yeah, God, I know we talked about it again, but that's my favorite thing about this team right now is there's just no let up. It's the guys that start, they get after it, and then there's another wave of guys that are coming in, depending on the score and the situation and the matchup, and they're all ready. And that is everything you want as a coach. Like, that is everything you want. It's just is to have tough decisions to make and try to be creative of trying to think of, even if it's just, hey, this move gets us a little bit faster on the bases to make us, to get us that next run, or give us a little more power, or give us a little better defense, or, you're always thinking about these things because we've got a lot of really good players that are forcing us to make these decisions. So that's a great thing. That's a great thing for us as a team and moving forward.
Yeah, and in addition to David's awards that we mentioned earlier from both the conference and PBR, just a lot of good vibes going on right now. I mean, D1 baseball, we show up there with them quite regularly. McCabe and Bryce and Andrew are all listed as Saturday's top performers. Butch and Brooksy got mentioned by D1 on Sunday as top performers. As a team, we're receiving votes and don't even ask me what this stands for, the NCBWA D1 baseball poll. We're receiving votes in that.
National Collegiate Baseball Writers Association. Nick.
There you go.
Thank you, Kevin. I knew you'd do that for me. And even 11.7 College Baseball Podcast has a major top 25, and we're in that. So, all this stuff adds up, right?
Yeah, no, it does. And, it's great. It's great. It means that we're going down the path we want to go. It means we're going the direction we want to go. But nowhere close to the destination. I think you guys would all agree with that as well. So we just got to keep on rolling and trying to keep getting better each and every day.
All right. You want to move on to our Ask Coach Woody segment?
Yeah, let's go for it.
We still don't have any music for that, but that's okay. The question this week, Coach, is how is your typical week of preparation different this year as compared to last year, pre-COVID?
Yeah, gosh, I mean, it's almost getting to the point where it's like you're kind of forgetting what it was pre-COVID, what it was completely like, because we're so ingrained, our student athletes and our coaches and our support staff, we're all so ingrained right now with, protocols and distance and sanitizing and testing and just, everything we have to do. So, for example, Monday, every Monday and Wednesday, our entire program, including student managers, support staff, coaches, players, from 8 to 10 a.m. We have a window where we can go to student health. We go to student health here on campus, and we get a PCR tested. And we usually, we get tested at Monday morning at 8 a.m. We'll get those results around Monday afternoon at 2:30 or so, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Once we get that good news, that makes us eligible for, Tuesday's competition this week. Tuesday's competition was our first road game. So we had a seating chart. We had a seating chart for the bus that was, spread out. We could only take a certain number of student athletes and support staff on the bus. We had coaches drive separately. We players obviously can't drive separately, but we tried to we want to avoid spread and avoid contact tracing to the best of our ability. There's no eating or drinking on the bus. There's masks the entire bus ride to and from. And again, I mentioned the seating chart just because, we want to make sure that we're putting guys near their roommates, we try to be strategic about, players who are being tested because they're, they haven't had it before, or maybe they're not under testing, have them closer to players who maybe have, have been involved in COVID protocols of some form, and they're not being tested right now. And, just trying to, again, limit spread, prevent spread, and keep our players safe as much as we possibly can. That's the number one priority. We never lose sight of that as a coaching staff and as a program and our administration. So, and then we get off the bus and we go play baseball. And we have stickers in our dugouts where our guys stand or sit to be distanced. We only have a certain number of student athletes and coaches in the dugouts during the game when it starts. We all wear masks over the course of the game. We have a news section right by the first base outside of our dugout that has about 15 desks that are all spread out, about 15 or so. We have spacing in our bullpen area, and in section 103 right by our dugout, we have designated chairs for our student athletes to sit as well. So, there's a lot of thought and there's a lot of effort, again, to make this as safe and as possible, for us to compete as we can. And, here we are, 7 games in, and, we've got 3 more coming up this weekend. So we're never gonna get complacent. We are going to do everything by the book. We're going to cross our T's and dot our I's to make sure that we do so. We've got tons of great support from the administration, and our athletic trainer, Brianna Richards, is amazing. She's never off the clock. She is, attention to detail and tedious and meticulous with everything as far as those protocols and, preparation for, keeping us in a position to be safe. So, little long-winded there, but hopefully it gives some insight further into, the things that we have to and want to and need to be conscious of each and every day when we approach, games, travel, practice, etc.
Those are the kind of things that got you interested in coaching, right, Woody?
This is why
social distancing and bus seating charts and having stickers in the right place and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I'll say this, that, jokes aside, no, that this is definitely not. But in all seriousness, why one of the main reasons why I did get into coaching was to help people, 18 to 22-year-olds have a really positive experience. And, that's my job right now. My job right now is to, whatever the best case scenario of, each and every player in our program is get to that best case scenario. If that best case scenario is seating charts and masks and no eating and drinking on buses, and that means everybody's safe, and that means that we all get to play baseball and compete and try to win games, then, so be it. You're not going to hear me complain about it. You're not going to hear me, any of that, because, these things are really important, and this team is really important. These players are really important to me and to our whole coaching staff. So every day that my feet hit the floor, these student athletes and everybody affiliated with Charlotte baseball is their health and safety and their experience is our top priority.
That's a good answer to that question, Coach. It really gives a lot of insight into your day-to-day as far as prepping each week. I know you're 3 weeks in now as far as game weeks, but it gives fans a look kind of what's going on day-to-day throughout a week, and what the players are going through as well. In addition to their actual playing baseball and coaching baseball, you are taking care of business on that side of things as well. Nick, you want to do the Grand Slam Club look at the week ahead? Are you ready for that now?
Yeah, I'm ready for that. I'm dealing with some contingencies here. You're talking about your contingencies. I'm dealing with my contingencies. My contingencies is a barking dog. So, yeah, let's move on. Let's do the Charlotte 49ers Grand Slam Club look at the week ahead. The Charlotte 49ers baseball team is proud to offer its fans a means of supporting the program directly through the Grand Slam Club. All contributions to the Grand Slam Club go directly back into the program as they continue their push towards a Conference USA championship and the College World Series. Members receive exclusive gear, like a lot of the stuff you're seeing in these photos right now, and access to special events. For more information, visit charlotte49ers.com or call 704-687-4950. All right. The Niners are hosting the Western Carolina Catamounts this weekend. We've got a 3-game series on tap at the Hayes. Game times, we got Friday, which is tomorrow, Friday at 3, Saturday at 3, and then Sunday at 1 p.m. Catamounts are coming in at 5-3. They dropped a series to UNC Wilmington last weekend, 2-1. Their midweek game versus Wake Forest was canceled due to COVID protocols within the Wake Forest program, something for us to keep an eye on since they appear on our schedule in a couple of weeks. So that's what we've got going on with the Western Carolina Catamounts. Kevin, why don't you talk about the probable starters?
It looks like we announced the starters today. Andrew Lindsay's going on Friday. Bryce McGowan on Saturday and Matt Brooks on Sunday. Friday's matchup is pretty interesting because Andrew Lindsay was teammates with the Western starting pitcher Zebby Matthews at Walter State. So that should be very interesting to watch. Looks like we got another going through the same starters this weekend as we did last weekend. You want to speak a little bit about your rotation, Coach?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's we certainly feel great about it. These 3 guys have, we feel like we can see a lot of growth and development week in and week out. All 3 of those guys, their pulses are very steady, which to me is something that I've always looked for in a starting pitcher. Is to be, first pitch of the game is steady, runners get on, it's steady, and so really love their pulse and everything they've done. Through 2 weeks so far. I'm excited to give them the ball. But yeah, no, I mean, to your point, Zebby Matthews he was teammates with, and I think even roommates with Andrew Lindsay at Walter State Junior College. And he's a North Carolina native originally. So when I was the pitching coach at UNC, I went over and I saw Walter State, and I remember actually saw Zebby pitch and recruited him a bit, and he can really pitch. It's a lot of strikes, really good fastball command. It's nothing necessarily overpowering. It's 87 to 90, but 87 and 90 located can definitely beat you. So it's going to be a tough battle. He's got a good breaking ball. It's more of a slurve type breaking ball. It's going to be 78 to 80 miles an hour. Threw more of a changeup when I saw him at Walter State, but we'll see how much he throws that pitch tomorrow. But we're going to have our work cut out for us. I mean, he's a really good pitcher. I think he's given up 1 run on the year in 14 innings. only walked one guy. So, we're gonna have our hands full. We're gonna be tested tomorrow and throughout the course of the weekend. They have a good lineup and a really good team.
Yeah, I believe he was SoCon Pitcher of the Week this week, and they beat UNC Wilmington, which is a very tough team, on that Friday. So definitely a tough test. But so they Andrew and Zebby were roommates in college.
Yeah, that's what Andrew was telling me. I don't know for how long or the length, but yeah, they were actually roommates for a bit. So, it'll be a good matchup.
It's gonna be interesting. Yep, looking forward to it. You mentioned a little bit about their offense. Three guys for fans to keep an eye on. Junior second baseman Daniel Walsh. He's got 2 homers already and 11 RBIs this year. Junior outfielder Justice Bigby. He's got 3 homers and 15 ribbies. And senior catcher Luke Robinson, 3 homers and 11 ribbies as well on the season. So you gave us a little insight on that. Anything else you want to provide for the fans?
I mean, it's a big physical lineup. Who can you got to make pitches and you got to control counts, and else they can hurt you. So
a lot of experience. They're older guys.
Yep, a lot of older guys, a lot of experience. They I know they lost 2 of 3 at UNC Wilmington, but UNC Wilmington's got a heck of a pitching staff. And they put up some, they were able to score some runs against a really good pitching staff at Wilmington. So, it's going to be a good test for us. We need to be ready to play well and compete wire to wire. And, because, Coach Moran has been doing it a long time as well. He was a long-time pitching coach in the ACC at Virginia, then Wake Forest, then Georgia Tech before he's becoming the head coach at Western Carolina. So he's really respected in our game. In fact, they're practicing down on our field right now. They're getting ready, so it'll be a good test for us this weekend.
Now, Coach, that's going to be a great series this weekend, ready to get back on the field. And I know what you're going to say. I know you don't want to look past Western Carolina, and I know you're not. But before we get back together for next week's show, we'll have another midweek game. Looks like it's going to be at the Hayes next Tuesday at 3:00. Some team from somewhere is coming in. Who is it anyway?
Yeah, we'll play the Volunteers. They're we went to their place last year, and Coach Vitello and his staff, they I think they're in their 4th year together, and anybody that pays attention to college baseball recruiting is well aware of the fact that they have been recruiting at a high level for all 4 years that they've been there. They've been bringing in top classes. They've been bringing in really good players. And I think they're 8-2. I haven't looked too much at them right now, but I think they're 8-2.
They
overall, are. Their pitching staff is always they're routinely pumping out really really good arms, and we went down there to Knoxville last year and we faced their lineup that was of the 17 games we played last year. I know NC State was ranked 9th when we played them, and they were really good, and they probably could have gotten Omaha. I actually thought the Tennessee lineup was more of a problem to deal with than State's, and that's no discredit to NC State whatever last year, because again that team was extremely good, but that Tennessee lineup we faced last year was just a little bit different. They've got speed, they've got power, they've got hit per average up and down the order. I really like their leadoff hitter, Max Ferguson, the left-handed hitter. Drew Gilbert, center fielder, left-handed hitter that I recruited out of Minnesota a couple of years ago, is extremely talented, 2-way player. So again, probably, haven't really looked at them too much, but it's gonna be a really good test for us, good battle for us. I'm excited for the opportunity. It'll be a good matchup.
Yeah, you're right, Coach. They're 8-2. They split 4 games with Indiana State last weekend, beat Austin Peay midweek, and this week they've got Georgia State. So we'll have to see how they progress through that before heading to the Hayes next Tuesday.
They've got one of the best catchers in the country too, Connor Pavoloni. I mean, he's probably gonna get drafted in the top 3 or 4 rounds. If you have an appreciation for high level catchers with good arms. He's got one of the best arms.
Right. So they are coming in currently ranked 17th in the country, and they that game on Tuesday will be televised on Conference USA TV. So want to check that out. If you can't make it to the Hayes, to check that out on Conference USA TV. I'm sure Jackson Kaplan will have the call for you. Yeah, we want to roll into Conference USA.
Second. I was just saying, hopefully Jackson won't get called away at the last second.
Well,
yeah,
we got two guys right here that could jump right in and fill in for Jackson if need be. Just putting it out there.
We'll just Mike Woody. I'm just gonna Mike Woody up and just let him go at it. It'd be well worth the price of Conference USA TV. Let's take a look at Conference USA real quick. We like to keep you guys updated on this. Take a look at the league, and we follow this, and kind of a few things start to emerge here. League's 49-27 now to conference play. The whole RPI thing, it's way too early to look at that. There's some crazy numbers floating around out there, but you can start to see some things emerging. For one thing, FAU, they look legit. They took a series from UCF. They beat Florida midweek at their new place. They're 7-1, and they've got Florida Gulf Coast this weekend. So FAU's coming to the Hayes later. Folks need to keep an eye on them. They're always a good team, but I mean, this might be.
Coach McCormick's been there a long time. He's one of the most respected coaches in our game, and David Kopp, their pitching coach, is one of the best younger pitching coaches in college baseball. They're always there. They're always in regionals. They're always there at the top of our league, and that should be a really good series for us here in a couple of weeks.
Then we're keeping close tabs on Old Dominion. For one, we think that they're some of our chief competition in the league this year, but we're going to play that dramatic 2-week 8-game series against Old Dominion later. They're doing pretty well themselves. They're 6-2. They beat East Carolina, another Niner opponent coming up. They beat East Carolina in Greenville on Wednesday night. They've got Northeastern coming up this weekend, so Old Dominion's worth keeping an eye on as well. Southern Miss is kind of an interesting little one. They're 4-4. Their schedule's kind of a mixed bag. Some good teams and some bad teams. Dropped one to Mississippi State this week, which is Mississippi State. I think are they been on the poll like third in the country. They should show well against Jacksonville State this weekend, so we'll keep an eye on them. And then finally, just one curious note on Conference USA. Marshall hasn't gotten on the field yet. They have literally not played a game, and not because of any protocols or anything like that. They just didn't have anything scheduled until this weekend. This weekend, they're hosting Morehead State, our first opponent, who, by the way, I don't think we mentioned this while we were playing UNCG the other night. Morehead State was beating Louisville in Louisville, and depending on the poll you look at there, Louisville is somewhere between, I think, 1 and 4, depending on the poll you look at. And so Morehead State went to Louisville and did that. So they've got Marshall this weekend. So that's kind of an interesting quirk where they just didn't have anything on their schedule until this weekend. But the Thundering Herd will be playing baseball this weekend. So let's see how they do against Morehead State.
I think, unfortunately, they're capped at a certain number of games that they can play.
Is that what the deal is?
Mm-hmm. And just it's part of it. Every school, every institution's facing unique challenges, and I think that I'm excited. Coach Wagner and those guys are going to get to tee it up this weekend and get rolling, because I know they've been chomping at the bit to get playing. So,
Coach, real quick, let me ask something real quick, Coach. I've been watching a lot of college baseball lately since it's been on. I know we started using the wristbands to call pitches, and I noticed in one game I was watching, the relief pitcher came in and had the wrong wristband, and him and the catcher were crossed up. So that was interesting. And they had equipment. They had to call equipment time. No, it wasn't on. This is another team. I won't mention the team.
Right.
But I was curious. I was wondering, how does a pitcher shake off a pitch, or do they shake off?
Yeah, no.
When they're.
Yeah, he can shake, and then the catcher can give a more traditional sign. We have a traditional sign system. So, we also have the ability to swipe up or swipe down. There's a whole system there. But no, pitcher. I mean, we call it pitcher in the dugout. We have a traditional sign system and touch system that our pitchers know that, if they shake, they can go to, Aaron or Jacob can call, another pitch.
Okay, I got you. I was watching a lot of baseball and I saw that and I was wondering. I hadn't seen anybody shake off or anything, so I was just curious if they had that option still.
Yeah, they do.
Evan, you watch a lot of baseball?
I'm a little bit of a fan. But yeah, I thought it was funny that one of the relief pitcher came in and he had the wrong wristband on, and him and the catcher were, I think he threw two or three pitches and they were off base. So they called time and they had an equipment adjustment timeout. It didn't count as a mound visit. It didn't count as a mound visit. So, but anyway, I was just curious if the pitchers could shake off because I hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah, no, they can. They know that. But Coach Miney does a ton of prep work, watches a ton of film. I mean, gosh, I think he was probably here last night till, long after I left. So, we watch a lot of film. We prep a lot. Our pitchers know that. Our catchers know that. So I think for the most part, I think a lot of time when you don't see shaking, it's just, our pitching staff and our catchers know that there's a lot of work that goes into that preparation. But they can certainly shake, and because again, at the end of the day, the pitcher and the catcher, they got the best view in the house. So if they want to go to something, they know they can.
Real quick, I just got one of our loyal listeners, Clayton in Charlotte, just checked in, says he's enjoying the show, but he did add that he's a little disappointed that we didn't mention anything about how we follow the science on this week's episode. So I think that was in reference to that was
Austin Knight. It was Austin Knight
eating beef and then hitting dingers. So follow the science. Yep. Yes, Austin is apparently still following the science and eating beef and hitting dingers. So there you go. That's from Clayton in Charlotte. So real quick here before we close this out, if you're still listening, by the way, if you're still listening at this point, you're our people. Yeah. So we want to mention a couple things to you before we get out of here tonight. First of all, we want to say thank you. Always thank you. And also give you an update on some things we've been working on. We started this, this started in 2013. Kevin started a Twitter account in 2013. We were doing some stuff individually before that, but Kevin started a Twitter handle in 2013 and we jumped on board and helped him and been doing a lot of things since then. As it turns out, February of 2021 ended up being the biggest month in that Twitter account's history, like ever. Okay. Since 2013, more Twitter traffic on that Twitter account ever last month, 2021. One, that's exciting because it's excitement about Charlotte baseball, but really what we want to tell you is that only happens because of all the stuff you guys do out there. Following and liking posts and retweeting stuff and all that stuff. And we're just really excited about where it's going. Of course, we've branched out over the years, more than just Twitter. We got Facebook and Instagram, and we even got a blog, diamond9report.com, that we're trying to update weekly now. So we're just getting all into things. More recently, we went back to a YouTube channel. We started off broadcasting live on YouTube, went away from it, but we're back. So if you're listening to us live right now, you're doing so on our YouTube channel. We also put other stuff on there. Like we catch dingers on cell phone video. Unless you're Jack Dragon, then we miss you, but we'll fix that. Check out that channel. We post stuff, we video stuff, and then we post it there until people tell us to stop doing it. So if you want to relive some big moments, you want to see some big Maple home runs, go check it out. They're on our YouTube channel. So feel free to look for Diamond Niner Report on YouTube. Subscribe. You can always follow us on social media. We're going to post this podcast there, where you can still find us on iTunes, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, all that good stuff. As I said, none of this happens without you guys and your support, and we just appreciate the heck out of all of you, because we get a lot of chances to do a lot of fun stuff because of this. So if you guys don't pay attention, then there's really no reason for us to do it. So we appreciate the heck out of that. Coach Woody, what are your last thoughts as we head into a big week of 49ers baseball? Give the fans something to hold on to as we head into game day tomorrow.
No, I mean, just I appreciate, again, if you're still listening or watching, I appreciate our whole coaching staff appreciates everyone's support, and we've got a lot of nice notes and text messages and emails, the first few weeks, and it's certainly very appreciated. And it's been great seeing more and more family and close supporters here at the Hayes, and we want to continue to move that direction, and continue to have warmer and warmer weather, and try to win as many games as we can. And so we appreciate everybody's support, and thanks for listening.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for us for this week. We love hearing from you guys, so feel free to reach out through any of our social media platforms. And as always, if you're more old-fashioned like we are, just say hi when you run into us at the ballpark or anywhere else you see us. All right, folks, it's a Niner game week. It's time to get some of Western Carolina starting tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. Until next time, we'll see you at the Hayes.
Go Niners.